Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's coffee morning. Got my coffee mug in hand. So today we're welcoming colleagues over from Argentina, from the Misiones Institute of Biodiversity, which is a province in the north of Argentina, at the start of the Atlantic rainforest. And there's a young institute that's starting to look for international collaboration. So we thought it'd be nice to invite them over and to give them a chance to present the institute and the work they do. So we have Candelaria who's going to talk, and Eric and Manuel are also here to answer any questions. So I'll hand over to Candelaria. Welcome to Youth Institute.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Candelaria Sánchez Fernández, and I'm going to talk about Misiones, a biodiversity haven. However, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me and the IMiBio team. I'm here with Dr. Emanuel Grassi and Dr. Eric Ruth. And I would also like to forward to you the warmest regard from the president of IMiBio, Viviana Rovira. So let's talk about Misiones. Misiones is a small province and is located in the northeast of Argentina. And when you open the Google map on the satellite view, on the place of Misiones, you will see a green spot, which is a biodiversity hotspot and which has the Perennial Forest. If I trace the borders here, 91% are international borders with Brazil and Paraguay, and the rest is with another Argentinian province. Here is southwest, is Corrientes, and you see a light green color surrounded Misiones, and it represents mostly soybean culture from Brazil and Paraguay. So let's continue talking about Misiones basics. Misiones is a small province with a population approximate 1.3 million inhabitants, with a surface of 30,000 square kilometers. It's about 1% of the country's surface, and the 50% of this surface is covered with forest, approximate 1.6 million hectares, and 2/3 of these hectares are protected. Misiones has approximate 52% of Argentinian biodiversity, and because of that, Argentina is the Argentinian biodiversity capital since 2018. And the reason of this is because of Perennial Forest, this biodiversity hotspot. Misiones safeguard the Perennial Forest with exceptional legal effort, more than 120 laws. For example, Misiones created Ecology Ministry in 1984, and IMiBio, this institute, was inaugurated in 2018. Recently, the Climate Change Ministry was created in 2020. And of course, Misiones has the Iguazu waterfalls, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. You are welcome to visit it. So why Misiones is so highly biodiverse? Like a sad children story, once upon a time there was the Atlantic forest. It was the second largest in South America for a long time, but in the 1900s it started to change. As you see in the map, I'm going to zoom it here, 1900, 1940, and then just the 5% remain of all of this Atlantic forest. So up to 1900, the Atlantic forest was like 80 million hectares. By 2000, only 5% remained, and probably less today. But Misiones has the biggest continuous remnant in the interior of the interior Atlantic forest, here in the map. But Perennial Forest is critically endangered. So our institute, IMiBio, was created by law in 2018, and the vision of our institute is be an international and regional reference center for scientific studies of biodiversity, and we want to have a wide and holistic vision of biodiversity, study the Perennial Forest, transfer the knowledge to the society, promote policies and legal instruments for conservation and regulation of biodiversity services, and enhance the value of biodiversity in the society. So how we work? We work through strategic axes that are operational framework from the Institute. Projects are defined through the axis. For example, we have biodiversity and science, biodiversity and health, biodiversity and society, and finally, biodiversity and management of the genetic resources. We want to, I draw here the SDGs because we want to get the SDGs, and well, these axes, these two first axes, biodiversity and science and biodiversity and health, are basically scientific, and biodiversity and society is how we transfer the science and the knowledge to the society, and biodiversity and management of the genetic resource. Here we have the Nagoya Protocol and the legal part of the institute. And the project we have under these axes are like a lot of projects, but for example, in biodiversity and science, we have monitoring and survey of Perennial Forest, and I think this is the one that will attract you the most. So I'm going to talk about in the next slide about this. Another project is molecular characterization of biodiversity population, fungi physiology, eco-health, rhizome, bioactive, and other things. And biodiversity and health, we have the One Health vision, we trace zoonosis, health of animal, and we have clinical studies, for example, in HPV. We have a COVID-19 diagnosis lab. This was a requirement for the province government to front the pandemic. Another project like leptospira, dengue. Well, a lot of projects. I'm going to pass it. So the IMiBio proposal, and I think here we could collaborate in this is to study the monitoring biodiversity, generate a high quality storage and analysis system for data and samples. We have a biobank. We want this biobank to grow with sample quality and with information. Management of analysis equipment and data. We want to do an analysis of the system of interaction between biodiversity actors to generate a strategy for sustainable society and to accomplish the SDGs. So, study and monitoring the Perennial Forest. We have a permanent observation area here next to the institute. We want to get a space image. We want to do a space image analysis of the Perennial Forest, selection of drone system and analysis of the Perennial Forest, and evaluation the correlation between drone and satellite image, to do a comprehensive image analysis of the Perennial Forest and identify particularly important areas, correlation between aerial image and the terrestrial image, to put a remote sensor placement on the terrain survey, and implement a data acquisition and management system to do a surveillance of biodiversity evolution, and finally aid poaching surveillance. So all these, we need your help to do all these projects, and we would like to collaborate with University College of Dublin. Here is our team, IMiBio team, and you can see in the image the waterfalls. The white dot here is the waterfall from the hotel in Cataratas. Thank you very much for your interest. Any questions? Oh, sorry, I let Eric and Emma if they want to talk.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Candelaria. That's fantastic presentation. What strikes me is also the breadth of the topics that are involved with the Institute. It goes from the biodiversity in the forest systems right through to society and human issues as well. So there's a huge diversity which overlaps with many of the research themes in the UCD Earth Institute.
Yeah, I think we have a huge breadth. That's it's of course a strength and also a weakness. We are, one could say, we are perhaps stretched, but on the other hand, we share projects and we are open to collaborations. We are a young institute, as you saw. The inauguration was in 2018. So some of the projects are starting, some are running, and one should see this as a starter, and we invite you to help us is perhaps a bit direct, but at least collaborate with us. And see what we can do, because I think it's what should be clear is that this is the remnant of the biggest remnant of the Atlantic forest, of the the Great Atlantic Forest that went from along the coast from north of Rio de Janeiro down to north of Uruguay, and that ends up in part of Uruguay. And we in Misiones are the most southern part of the Atlantic Forest, which turns into savannas. So we have the southern tip of Misiones is mainly savannas. So basically, this is the rest of what was the Atlantic Forest, and it presents a huge possibility to study biodiversity, since there are still pristine areas in the forest. You might not, it's not indicated on my face, but I was born in Misiones. Since I'm rather old now, I've seen the forest when it was younger. So I've also been shocked when I came back to Argentina by the loss of forest. And still, Misiones is the part of the Atlantic Forest, or the Perennial Forest, which is still untouched. So please go ahead and ask more. I'm not going to sell the Misiones Forest. Please, John.
Okay, so if anyone has any questions, put them in the chat. So we've got one from Connor Blunt saying kind of, great talk, Candelaria, thank you. And he's asking kind of what animals are under threat from poaching in this particular area of forest?
The threat of poaching is found essentially on the jaguars. You will have all the cats, the pumas, the ocelots, the jaguarundi, and you will have Emmanuel.
Yes.
Monkeys.
Monkeys.
Yes. Tapir or anta.
Tapir.
Tapir is the
Carpinchos. Carpincho. Capybara.
yes.
Capybara. You have, I can tell you, having lived as a kid in Misiones, I can tell you people went out and shot. They were hunting. I've also studied the immigration. Misiones is an immigration province. They have come from Brazil, from Europe to Brazil, and then from Brazil into Misiones because it was a better life there. But people, they went out to the jungle to hunt, and much of that is still present.
So is that the main pressure, the driver for poaching, hunting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have heard, and I'm not living in Misiones today, but I'm still feeling very much a misionero. And what they have told me is that there are, so to say, raids made by Brazilian. They organize raids into Misiones because in Brazil there is no forest left. All is soybean culture. So people come from Brazil in big trucks and they go into the forest and poach.
So there's another question here, slightly different topic from Darren. He's just asking, is it possible to obtain permits with Misiones as a collaborator if you want to do phylogenetic work, molecular work on population genetics of the biodiversity in Argentina?
Great, that's the question I wanted to hear.
It's a great question.
So the answer is a straight yes. The story behind it is that we are the authority that gives permission according to the Nagoya Protocol for research and usage of the genetic resources. so as long as the project is sane, it's has a good scientific purpose, there will be no problem. We talk about it. Emmanuel here, he is the authorizing person besides the legal people. He reads the projects and gives his signature. So he's the man to contact. And then we are open to do collaborations. I feel I forgot some part of the question. Is that so, John?
I think that was the main. That's the main thing. Yes. Maybe because I was going to ask kind of, yeah, who should people contact if they want to discuss collaboration? So maybe if you send me, yeah, Manuel, your email and any other contacts, we'll pass them on to people after this session.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
There's a few other questions coming in. So
yeah.
So Arthur's asking, do you collaborate much with other institutes? Like Wetlands International, SIGAR, any other big research institutes? Kind of what other international links do you currently have or planning?
On that question, we have ongoing collaborations with the Institut Curie in France. We have collaborations with Estonia on fungi, and then we have collaborations with the University of La Plata in Argentina, where we have studying ferns, and then we are, help me, Emmanuel, I'm getting a blank in my head.
Eric, with Italy, the Falsa Guayaba.
Yes, we have. Yeah, we have a collaboration with, again, with a group, and this is more industrial, so that's why it's went out from my head. So we are looking into how to grow tropical fruits and sell them in Europe. That's essentially, we have a collaboration going on with Yale on HPV studies. We have then with University of Graz, we had a collaboration which is on hold for the moment. And I think that's it.
And with
with
the Harpy project, the Harpy Eagle project with the Brazil,
Harpy, yeah,
in SPBS Foundation and Itaipu in Brazil.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, there's quite a bit of collaboration going on already.
It's I would say it sounds a lot, but I would not overdo it. So I think we are really open to what you showed, John, which interests us a lot. I'm talking about that all the time, and I'm probably boring up my collaborators with your example. But we are really open because the Institute is young and it's difficult to find collaborations. But I think one of the great things here is that the Institute lies close to a reserve. So it's close to the Perennial Forest. We are, I'm sorry, we don't have a picture of that. We should have that. We are in one corner of the reserve of the Perennial Forest. So this permanent observation area lies 600 meters from the Institute. So you can take your backpack, walk to the place, make your sampling, and go back to the lab and do the studies if you are molecularly interested, for example. Then you have a reserve which is called Esmeralda, which is on the other side of the province. And there you have a center which is in the middle of the jungle, which is called Marcio Aires, where you can stay and observe for quite a period of time and be in untouched and pristine Paranaense jungle.
Sorry, Eric. Sorry, Eric, we are not close to the forest. We live in the forest.
Sorry.
We are in the middle of the forest.
Yeah, I'm perhaps too cautious.
So we have a couple of other questions. So Federico is asking, the forest is transnational importance. You pointed out all the borders around Misiones. So are there plans or are there existing already transnational projects, with Brazil or Paraguay, and to establish ecological corridors maybe across international borders? Does that kind of transnational interaction happen?
You're hitting on the head of a nail. That's exactly what we want to do. I think Emmanuel, he is leading a project on the Harpy Eagle, and that's a transnational effort which unites Brazil and Paraguay. And I don't know if you are aware of the Harpy Eagle, but it's the biggest eagle in Latin America. It has the biggest body of all eagles, but it has shorter wings because it needs to fly in between the trees. And it's very sturdy, very strong, and very, very adapted to the area to fly in between the trees and pick the prey. And I think that's the one, but we want to expand this idea of pushing the Paranaense forest. And this is something we are working on, and you're welcome to join us in this effort, because I think it could be a very nice project to extend and restore at least part of the Atlantic forest, which is, let's say, if I say secret dream, you won't believe me because it's no secret anymore. But it's our goal to try to extend it a bit, because in Paraguay, it has almost disappeared. In Brazil, only patches are left.
Eric,
yeah, I think, yeah.
Eric, it's important to say that the state of Misiones could do a lot of money with soybean culture, but the state prioritized the Paranaense forest.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. When Candelaria mentioned about the laws, the first law was in 1974, and then since then it has been a preoccupation by the different governments is to build a legal framework around this Paranaense forest. And the pressure on the Paranaense forest is increasing, and the economical situation is worsening. So I would guess that we will lose what is left of the Paranaense forest if we don't do anything. Therefore, it's important to increase conscience, and that's why we work on the society. We need to increase the conscience of the people in the province about the richness and the importance of the forest, because it's so lush and extensive and so present in the province that everyone takes it for granted. But it's going to disappear because we see the disappearance from year to year. And part of the work here is to observe and survey, and that's where I got so impressed by your work in Ireland, John, that you presented, which is exactly what we would like to understand and to project how the Perennial Forest will appear if we don't do anything about it. So there is a political side of things which is beyond what we can do, at least for myself. We can act as an institute, but we are not politicians, and we can study it, and we can say how evolution is going to be, and then it's up to, and we can act to spread the Perennial Forest again into Paraguay and into Brazil. We can promote that.
Right.
Yeah, you can serve as an example for neighboring countries to have an alternative vision, I suppose.
Yeah. No, I think that the question is very well motivated. It's one of our big preoccupations that we are losing ground year by year. So we lose somewhere between 5,000 to 10,000 hectares every year.
Maybe just to wrap up, we've got time for maybe just the last question, which is touching more on the society side of things. And so McDara says that the Institute was established by law, and is interested, does the Institute also, is it involved in proposing laws and involving kind of, starting laws to conserve or protect the biodiversity in the province? So is that also part of the Institute's activity?
The simple answer is a straight yes. We are not the law formulating. We are not a parliament, of course, but our head of institute is a politician. She is a politician. We are supposed to impulse and promote and propose laws. We are also authority, as I said, as was mentioned, for the Nagoya Protocol, and we are part of the provincial government. So we are a public authority, so we can respond to new laws that are made, and we can give our opinion on them. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is that we do not, how do you say, we don't vote on the laws, but we give opinions. We can redact and propose some laws through our political connections, because we are highly connected on the local political side.
Okay, that's great. Good to know. So I think it's probably time to.
So I have one question. Emmanuel, do you have anything to add on that? Because he's the general director, so he has some. I'm a mere scientific director. I'm a scientist, so.
For me, it's okay, Eric.
Okay. So I guess we are running out of time. Is that what you're telling me, John?
I was about to say exactly that, yes. I think it's been fantastic to make this link with your institute and to see kind of the challenges and that you're involved in, and hopefully there's I think there's chance of collaboration, and we'll send around contacts for Emmanuel.
Yeah.
If people want to get in contact to develop further collaborations, and we have also your website there where we have to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll have future collaborations.
Yeah, so may I have just a minute to give? So the idea of the Institute is to work from space down to earth and cover from the crowns of the trees down to the soil, and picture the what is in the forest. We also work on the health side, working on zoonosis and in the One Health spirit. So we also cover in terms of techniques, we cover from molecular up to the observation on site, on ground, and also using space. So we try to give it a very wide and holistic approach. That's why we need collaborations. We need to have help from specialists, because you can't be specialist on all, but we want to cover with the help of collaborations, we want to cover as much as possible in this range from the molecular, in the soil, molecular and observation, macrobiology, molecular biology on what grows on the ground and what is in the forest. So that gives us a wide scope, but it also gives us a wide window for collaborations.
That's great.
I hope I've defended my case. That's the point. You're welcome to collaborate with us.
And John, we have a grassland, natural grassland too. If you want to apply your mathematical models here, you're welcome.
Yeah, wonderful, Candelaria. That's true. If you are interested in the frontier between forest and grassland, we have that frontier.
Oh, well, there you go. There's a link to islands and its grasslands as well. So
yes.
So that's a good note to end on. So thanks, Candelaria, for a fantastic talk, and to Eric and Emmanuel for also answering the questions. Great to have you along, and thanks everyone for your questions and being around today. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.